Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I was trying to adjust my light, get a little bit better light going here. Excuse me, froggy throat this morning. Welcome into the Songbird's Nest. My name is Margaret, and this is Songbirds Creations, Crochet, and More. I'd like to welcome you in. Good morning to my twinnie, Marianne. Good morning, Tammy. Good to see you. So yeah, Marianne, I'm sorry that you're having trouble with your sweater. I know how that feels. But yeah, don't throw it in the timeout pile just yet. Wait for your new yarn to get here, and maybe that will inspire things to go a little better for you. And in the meantime, I'm trying to work on this crazy spider dream tunic. And yeah, fine. I get that. I get that. Okay, what did I do? What did I do? I thought I took this apart and fixed that. Oh, goodness. Okay. Frogging again. Pray for me, y'all. This is the second time I'm frogging this for, I think, the same exact problem. Good morning, baby. Welcome in. Good to see you. Oh, there you go. Good morning, Melissa. An allergic reaction to your yarn. Oh, no. Ah, formaldehyde. Oh, yep. That could do it. Good morning, Helix. Wonderful to see you here. It's awfully early in your part of the world. You just got pounced. Mama Wench specialty. Oh, goodness. I've got to go back such a long way. I'm not happy. So apparently yesterday working on this on my live was maybe not the best idea because, okay, where did the yarn ball go? I apparently was not paying, my yarn ball's way back behind me on the floor. I was apparently not paying close enough attention to my counting and my stitches, and messed up on the row before this one. So now I have to frog back that row, part of the way anyway. I think I'm going to check through the entire row and make sure that I've got all the rest of it correct before I fix what I found. Oh, wow. Awesome. You let me know if you need the fourth ball of that, and I will send it to you. Good morning, Lana. Welcome in. Well, you already started it, Marianne, so, you know. Good morning, Tank. Good to see you. Okay, I'm back to frogging this last row, and I found a spot when I was crocheting the next row where I had screwed up, and it was the second time I had found a spot where I had done that. So I think I'm going to go through and check the entire rest of the row before I start fixing it. Okay, well, let me get that in the mail to you just as soon as I can then, Lexi. Obviously, it won't be today because it's Sunday. And we are supposed to maybe have storms today, which I'm really kind of excited about. I like storms. Hence the reason I like to watch Storm Chasers. Okay, so just running around this row right quick, the rest of it that I haven't frogged, just to make sure I've got all the rest of it correct and don't have to frog any more back. So far, so good. Almost around the row. Not finding any more bad spots. So far, so good. Yay, no more mistakes. So I can go ahead and work this back up to where I frogged it. I like circular shawls as well. The shawl that I was working on before I ran out of yarn was a circular shawl, and I really was enjoying it. Good morning, Amber. Welcome in. Good to see you. Good morning, Arity. Good morning, Julianne. Lots of people popping in here that I didn't see. Welcome in, everybody. Good to have you here. Oh, so how was everybody's day yesterday? Mine was pretty uneventful. After I got off of here, I got myself together and went grocery shopping. And of course, my knees were already hurting because of the weather. And by the time I got home from grocery shopping, my knees were absolutely screaming. So I quick emailed Lori because I was supposed to meet up with her yesterday afternoon and do some recording, but I just wasn't up for that. So I emailed her and let her know and took some medicine and laid down. I got an email back from Lori. She wasn't feeling the greatest yesterday either, so yeah, luckily postponing didn't bother her a bit either. so, so yeah, so I ended up sleeping for several hours, and I had bought a rotisserie chicken so that I wouldn't have to cook. Usually on grocery days, I will buy something that is either very easy to cook or requires no cooking whatsoever. And rotisserie chicken is perfect for that. We already had salad in the fridge, so I figured rotisserie chicken and salad would be just fine for supper. So when I woke up from my nap, I went ahead and made myself a sandwich, and Beth, that's just YouTube being YouTube. You shouldn't have to go out and come back in. Um, it's going to give everybody that message when you first come in. I don't know why it does that. It should recognize that you're subscribed already, but I just decided, since we did have some troll action yesterday, that I would turn on the subscribers only mode. That being said, I suppose if somebody really wanted to be disruptive, they could go ahead and subscribe and wait the 10 minutes, but usually trolls aren't going to do that. So, but if a troll does decide to do that, I will let any trolls know that if you go ahead and subscribe and wait the 10 minutes and then make a nasty comment, we can still ban you. My mods will be more than happy to get the troll hammer out and use it. So that's the one warning out there for any trolls that might be lurking in the background. See, there's Tank with her tools all ready to go. Well, unfortunately, Marianne's sword isn't in action in this chat. I mean, she can threaten with it, but she can't really do anything to you. However, Tank does have her tools at the ready, so. You love watching Whack-A-Troll? Yeah, sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's fun being the one to whack the trolls. Ah, there we go. Tank's got a sword now. Oh, excuse me. Itchy nose. So I woke up the first time about 3 o'clock this morning, and then promptly went right back to sleep, and got up again. Did not wake up again until about 8 o'clock, and got up and went out to the kitchen expecting that I was going to have to make coffee. Lo and behold, the hubby got up at some point this morning and made coffee, and I didn't have to do it. It is so nice that he has figured out how to use the pour over pot. Just saying. This is the second morning in a row that I haven't had to make coffee. Now, if this is bringing the time forward that we're going to have a new coffee pot because he's going to get sick of making coffee in the pour over, I don't know, but we will see. Maybe he's figured out that the pour over is the way to go and just to leave well enough alone. I don't know. But yeah, I didn't have to make coffee this morning. It was very nice. I poured myself a cup, added my caramel macchiato creamer, which is so yummy, and I was good to go. A latte, that sounds yummy too. I agree, Helix. Having coffee ready is a big thing, definitely. Made my morning. Gave me a little ray of sunshine where there wasn't any because it is certainly gray and gloomy here and raining. But on the bright side, it is about 51 degrees right now. We're supposed to get up to possibly about 58 today, but it's going to be raining and possibly thunderstorming all day long. I actually like the thunderstorming, so I'm not going to complain, as long as it doesn't get too crazy. And then tonight we have a wind warning, which is kind of interesting. It's going, I guess it's blowing in the cold weather because after today, the temperature is supposed to drop considerably. And I think we're even supposed to maybe get a little bit of snow. Now, up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, which is, I mean, admittedly several hours away from me, they are supposed to get a blizzard today. They have blizzard warnings up there. So I will probably get off of here and watch Storm Chasers today to see what's going on with the weather in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Because they're not supposed to just get inches of snow, they are supposed to get feet of snow up there, which is just crazy. When I was a kid, my father worked for the state of Michigan in the agriculture department, and he originally started out working in the meatpacking houses as an inspector, which was a pretty, I mean, it was a good job, but it was pretty nasty job. I'll give you an example. When I was in kindergarten or first grade, probably first grade, we were supposed to draw a picture of our parent at work and, you know, what their job was, try to represent their job through a picture. Well, I drew a man dressed all in white with blood all over him and a big knife. So the teacher contacted my parents. She became very concerned because of the picture that I had drawn and contacted my parents. And my parents both just laughed because in all reality, I did represent his job pretty well. I mean, that's kind of what he looked like at work. So, I mean, seeing blood at a young age was no big deal for me. My dad came home in bloody uniforms pretty much every day. Um, so, you know, not scary at all. Um, he also, when I was a little kid, would bring home fetal pigs, and I was helping dissect fetal pigs at the age of probably 5 or 6. So, yeah. Having a father in the meatpacking industry was rather interesting. But another cute story. We used to go visit my dad at work once in a while. And, it was no big deal for us to just stroll through the meatpacking house and, check out what was going on. Well, one day my sister was maybe just 3 or 4, and my dad took her to the meat cooler with all the big sides of beef hanging up. And Valerie in yes. Yes, Helix, you're right. Scorpio giggle. But Valerie looked at all the big sides of beef hanging up in the cooler and said, "Look at all those big chickens." My dad, I don't think he ever lived that one down. I saw that in CSI once. Hey, good morning. Good to see you. Lurk on, I don't mind you being here in the background. But yeah, so that's my meatpacking house stories. So later on in his career, Dad had the opportunity to move up the ladder. And what he ended up doing was becoming a labeling officer. And basically, what he had to do at that point was go around to processing plants where they make lunch meat and sausage, hot dogs, that kind of thing. And he would have to check that what was on the label was what they were actually putting into whatever they were processing. So he had to take a test to do that. And at the same time that he took the test for the labeling officer job, he also had taken a test for another job, and I'm not even sure what it was, but it would have moved us up to Marquette, Michigan, which is up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan and gets a lot of snow. My dad was telling me that what people up there would do is build their front porch way up high off the ground, and during the summer, normal time of year, you would just walk up and down a stairway to get into the front door. But in the wintertime, they would just lay boards straight out from the front door across the top of the snow to walk on. insane, just absolutely insane. So, yeah, I'm kind of glad we ended. Ah, okay, Chuck. Well, I started out my life in a little bitty town called Niles, which is actually about 20 minutes away from where I live now, up to the north of me. It's basically 20 minutes from my house in South Bend up to my uncle's house in Niles. Um, and then when my dad started working for the state, we ended up in Kalamazoo. And then we ended up, they bought a house in a little town called Plainwell, which was a nice little town. Unfortunately, we were only there for about a year before my dad tested and got the job that took us to Lansing. And we lived for a very long time in Lansing. In fact, I moved out from Lansing to go elsewhere in the world. And I did move back to Lansing for a very short time before I ended up in Tennessee. Yes, I do remember in the 80s when everybody left and went to Houston during the oil boom. Yes, I remember that. Oh, okay. Yeah, a lot of my son's dad, his family were all GM workers. Um, GM was the big employer around the Lansing area. Pretty much, Lansing area, most people either worked for GM, the state, or you worked in East Lansing for Michigan State University. Those were the good jobs around the Lansing area. Unfortunately, the automotive industry has not continued to do well in that area, and a lot of people got laid off. So my second husband worked for Fisher Body, which at the time that he was working there was the oldest running GM plant. And he got laid off from there once before I met him and didn't think he was ever going to get called back, but he did. And when I met him, he was working at Fisher, and they laid him off again, and he didn't know how long his layoff was going to be at that time. But at that time, Saturn was just starting out down in Tennessee, and he and I were we were in the early stages of living together, I guess you would say. And so it was kind of funny because they called him from Saturn to ask him if he wanted to come down and interview. And he thought somebody was playing a joke on him. And he's like, who is this really? And they had a hard time convincing him that it was somebody actually calling him from Tennessee to come interview for a job down there. So we ended up flying down to Tennessee. He did the interview and he got hired in down there. So that's how I ended up going down to Tennessee, which I absolutely loved. Tennessee is amazing, amazing company. No, well, it was in Spring Hill, Tennessee. We actually lived in Columbia, which was not a bad drive from Spring Hill. No, Sparta, is Sparta the Nissan plant, I think? I think that's what Sparta is. Now I lived after he and I divorced, Spring Hill is kind of a little south of the center of the state. So you got like Nashville and then Franklin, and then Spring Hill is just south of Franklin. But after my ex and I split up, I went ahead and continued living in Tennessee. I had my life going and, felt pretty good about being down there. It didn't really bother me that I was more or less by myself. So I ended up, my mom came up from Florida one year for her birthday and fell in love with Tennessee. So she decided she wanted to move to Tennessee. And so she went back to Florida and told her partner, I'm moving to Tennessee. You can come with me or you can stay here. Well, so originally the plan was that they were going to move up in the spring. Well, then a couple weeks later, the plan was they were going to go ahead and move up as soon as they could. So she messaged me and wanted me to start looking for a place for them. Well, in the meantime, my grandmother on my father's side passed away, and we ended up having to go to Michigan for her funeral. So my sister and I ended up driving up to Michigan, and in the meantime, my mom got online, found a place in Columbia, Tennessee to rent an apartment, rented the apartment, rented a truck, got friends to help them pack up, and within another week or so, they were up in Tennessee. So but after my mom lived in Columbia for a while, they decided they wanted to buy someplace to live, and we got to looking at mobile homes, and I decided to move with them, and we bought a mobile home out in Watertown, Tennessee, which is right next door to Lebanon, or as they say it down there, Lebanon. Um, but I lived on Sparta Pike. So if you jumped on the road that I lived on and kept heading, I believe, west, you'd get to Sparta. Good morning. Wow, that's a big move, Tank. East Texas to North Carolina. Good morning, Queen's Curls. Thank you for popping in to say hello. I appreciate it. Marianne says hello, Mr. Twinny. I don't know if he heard me or not. He was just walking through, looked out the front door, and walked back through the other way. 19 hours pulling your trailer. Oh, goodness. Queen's Curls, I hope that you had wonderful holidays, and that you will have a wonderful upcoming holiday. Is everybody ready for New Year's Eve? Now, I think if I'd have lived in Belize, I'd have stayed there. Just saying. It would not hurt my feelings a bit to move to Belize. That works. That works, Julianne. I'm usually up until after the ball has dropped. We just normally do fancy schmancy shrimp cocktails and crackers and cheese and summer sausage. Just keep it pretty simple. I may make a little something extra this year. I don't know. When the shotguns start going up. Oy vey, that's a little scary. I was talking to my dad a little bit the other day about what his plans are. After his wife first passed away, he had talked about selling the condo and moving. He said that the only reason that they really bought the condo on the beach is because she wanted to be close to the ocean so she could hear the waves. And so, him being a good husband, they went ahead and bought the condo. They also got a really good deal on it, so, you know. there's that. But I think to make my dad happy, um, he would like to have a house with a piece of property around it so that he could have garden space because he is a gardener from way back. He has always loved to have a big garden. Um, and unfortunately, with their condo rules, he can't really grow a whole lot out on their balcony. Plus, in the case of hurricane, a lot of that kind of stuff can become projectiles, which, they don't like very well. So they don't let people have too much growing on their balcony. But he said the other day he's not sure just yet what he's planning to do. He actually was thinking about moving back up to Michigan, which I would be really sad about because I enjoy going south to be able to see him down there. And I actually really want to move down south. If I can ever talk my hubby into it, I would like to move either to North or South Carolina. I don't want to live on the coast, but I would like to live down where there's a lot less snow than what there is here. Yeah. But one thing that he did mention is that he feels really isolated in the condo where he lives. He's made friends of people that live there, which there really aren't that many of. Most of the condos in that building are rental properties that people, they have them. They can come down and use the condo whenever they want to. But normally what they do is use it for rental property. And yeah, so there aren't really a lot of people that live in the building full time. And so wow, Tank, that's scary stuff. Um, so yeah, Dad was saying he feels kind of isolated there. He's made friends with a few of the people that live in the building, but other than that, he really hasn't made friends since he's moved down to South Carolina. So he has thought about moving back up to Michigan because he has, even all the years that he's been in South Carolina, he still has a pretty good friend base up in Michigan. So I guess if he moved to Michigan and I didn't move south, that would put him closer to me. So there's that. But I really want to move south out of the snow. All right, Queen's Curls. Well, you have a wonderful dinner, and thank you so much for stopping in to see us. You're welcome in anytime. Well, that's just scary, you guys. Having your kids almost kidnapped or having kids in your care kidnapped. That would be horrifying, to say the least. Good morning, Grammy Rita. Welcome in. Good to see you. So I'm finally doing this and getting my stitch count right after having to frog back twice, not just once, twice. So what is everybody working on today? Wow, Tank. That's a big responsibility, especially someplace where they want to kidnap blonde kids. That would be. Working on your sweater, Marianne? Good. You're not kicking it to the curb yet. That's good. I think I will keep on working on this thing. It's about time for me to try it on and see where I'm at with it. That's the thing about this gal's patterns is you have to try them on while you're pretty much constantly while you're working on them, just to make sure the fit's going right and kind of gauge where you need to go next with the pattern. The way she writes these patterns, you can repeat portions of the pattern in order to make the top larger if you need to. So that's kind of nice. So the portion of the pattern that I'm working on now, where if you look, I had a solid row and then I had a solid row way down here, and then the lacy row, and then another solid row, and then I'm back to the lacy row. So this that I'm working on now is basically a repeat of this section here. And the way the graph reads, I only need to repeat this section a second time. But I will try it on once I get this section done and see if that works so that I can move on to the next graphed section. And the next graphed section is pretty much your last section. Now, I have a feeling that what I will end up doing is working that section, and there's one row in that section that you're supposed to repeat until you can join it under your arm and down the side. So I have a feeling once I get to that row and have repeated it enough to join my side seam, I will add more to the bottom of the tunic and make it as long as I can, because I like my tunics to run long. So that sounds fun. When is their birthday, Tank? Oh, that sounds nice, Renee. I can't wait to see that. Ooh, you better get going on that cardigan then, Tank. Is that what the hexagons are for? Oh, well, get to work on the cardi. January 25th will come up on you quick. I'll tell you what, I'm glad I didn't have to make any. Your youngest child's 40th birthday. Yeah, it's hard for me to believe that my son is looking at 50 in not too many years. I don't feel old enough to have a kid that age. Ah, working on your book map. Cool. A 2-point poncho. Cool. Oh, well, just consider it a design feature, Arity. It's not a mistake. That's right, Arity. Just go with it. Oh, wow. Japan. Welcome back, Lana. My son's birthday was November 22nd. And he turned 40 something. I can't do the math right now. Too much mathing. Oh no, Melissa. Oh God. That's a lot of frogging. 7 rows with bobbles. Oh, bummer. Rip it, rip it, rip it. Yeah. Where's Magic Frog when we need her? Well, here not too long from now, I'm going to be ripping apart that attempt at a sweater scarf that didn't work out. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and frog that entire thing and use the yarn and make a poncho instead. The yarn is too pretty to let sit. It's so soft and warm and just beautiful color, so, and would match my hair wonderfully. So I am going to frog that thing and reclaim the yarn. So Yeah. Sometimes, Melissa, our husbands can recognize the pain. That is crochet. My husband will quite often see me making stuff, but he doesn't normally get to see the ripping back part. So if something is taking me a really long time to make, a lot of times it's because I've had to rip back, and he doesn't understand that somewhere in the crochet process, I've had to rip back and redo. Yes, Melissa, that's when crochet becomes crochet. Crochet. Oh, well, that's nice of him. That's a good hubby. Wind it as you frog so your yarn doesn't get all tangled up. Renee, if it's a mistake that is glaringly obvious and will totally throw off my pattern, yes, I will definitely frog and redo, which is why I frog this twice for the same mistake. Yeah, especially like with a lace pattern. A lace pattern, it's going to be real obvious if you've got a big mistake in it. And so, there's no way that I would be able to let that go. But if it's just a matter of a stitch here or there and something that's more or less a solid piece of fabric, I'm not going to frog the whole thing. I will fudge it later on in the row and get the count correct. But yeah, like I said, it really just depends on what it is, if I'm going to frog it or not. So. Ooh, 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 ooh. You know what, Renee? That's a good idea. Because yes, cables are a booger sometimes, and good to have something to fall back on when you get frustrated. Because a lot of times with a drop stitch, you can work your way back and pick it up, but with the cables, that's just a whole nother level right there. So I have tried out several different cable patterns, have never accomplished an entire sweater with cables, and not sure I ever will, to be very honest. I love cables. I actually love knitting cables, but just knitting in general, I don't love enough to accomplish a whole sweater. Oh yeah, they're beautiful. Cables are definitely, especially fishermen's sweaters. They are amazing. Yeah. Are you going to be going through Ireland on your trip to Scotland, Renee? Yeah, undyed wool, that's pretty classic fisherman's cable. Normally they do undyed and in the grease because having the yarn in the grease makes them very waterproof. Um, yeah, I imagine it'll be a while before you have to worry about plane tickets. I know when my mom went to Scotland, she did have a stopover in Ireland, and she bought a fisherman knit sweater while she was there, and absolutely loved it. Unfortunately, later on, moths did get to it and pretty much ruined it. I would have loved to have inherited it, but it was so full of holes by that point that, yeah, putting the lanolin on your hands, yep, that works too. Um, that was one of the things about when my mom was spinning yarn. Um, I used to love helping her sort the fleece, and by the time we were done sorting a fleece, our hands were grubby and smelly, but boy, were they soft. Well, you guys, we are just about at an hour. We're actually a little over an hour since I did start the live just a couple minutes early, but we're just about at an hour of my official time, so I am going to start saying my goodbyes. And I really have enjoyed hanging out with you guys, telling some of my many stories. And yes, it's been wonderful having you here. So glad to see all my subscribers. And I hope you all have a fantastic rest of the day. Do what you love and spend time with the ones that you love. And I will see you guys again next Saturday. So take care, everyone. Bye-bye for now. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Frizzy. I appreciate that. I like hearing everybody else's stories too. So it's fun when it's my turn to share. And I've got a lot of them to share. So take care. Bye-bye for now. Have a blessed day.